All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that probably have an aversion to salad now. And if you don't know what that is, watch the last episode. Announcements. They just
It takes a
announced.
lot more to that, pal. I got smoothies. I'll turn these fuckers into smoothies.
Announcements. It has just been announced by Wizards of the Coast. First of all, Wizards of the Coast put out a kind of timeline for the next for 2024 as far as books that they're releasing. They have officially announced that the 5.5 edition Player's Handbook, or the 2024 revision, is what they're calling it. It's D&D 5.5, as I've been saying the entire time. It's coming out. I believe it's late September. With if you buy the physical digital bundle through D&D Beyond, you get early access to the digital version 2 weeks early, which I believe the early access starts September 6th or 7th. So officially, the new version of the D&D is launching the beginning of September.
Are we taking bets or predictions about what the name will actually become?
Oh, they.
Because I never thought it would stick to with
Oh,
one.
it's never going to. But they've
Yeah.
officially, according to Wizards of the Coast, it is going to be referred to as the 2024 revision. That is what they're referring to it externally as the Player's Handbook 2024. As far as what's
I wonder what name will stick though.
it's going to be 5.5.
You think
3.5 is
so?
so popular that it's going to be 5.5. The only reason the Essentials line for 4th edition wasn't called 4.5 was because 4th edition died like a year after the Essentials line started. Like they stopped publishing books a year after the Essentials line got published. So the unless 5.5 is as unsuccessful as D&D Essentials was, it's going to be 5.5. I will put money on it if I actually had any money to put on it. But so that really, really cool. As far as what that's going to mean for this stuff, I have no idea. Every one of my players, I have conversations with all of you guys when new stuff happens, if we want to try and implement it or not. We use a lot of the revised Ranger stuff for Argenta because it's better and it's more fun, and it is 100% come and bit me in the ass.
Well, especially if you compare it to the original Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah, if the rules revision in September, first of all, if we're still playing this campaign in September because these guys are getting close to the end here, which is what happened for Realms of the Wild 2 years before it ended. So it's possible we'll still be playing this campaign in September. It might be we're getting to the very end of the campaign and I don't want to change anything. But
But you say that and then you go like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a secret town underneath the town.
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, again, I write this stuff mostly so that the weird stuff that I want to happen to you guys makes sense. I don't expect you guys to actually look into all of it, but if you decide to, I have it in my brain. Like it exists. So if you guys want to do that, it's perfectly fine, and we will go down a very weird rabbit hole.
That's the opposite problem most DMs have. They put shit out there and they just go like, I mean, if you guys want to check that stuff out, I mean, you can if you want, I guess.
I
Oh,
get.
look,
Oh, go ahead.
here's a string. Let me.
I
Hey, where's the Blue Hat Guild?
I am very much a motivation based actor where all of my character actions, everything that I do has to have a motivation, which comes from going to college for acting. And like that's and so in order for me to do something weird, which is how I challenge you guys, because let's be 100% honest, if I just throw really, really hard monsters at you guys, you will kill them all. Like
That's not a story.
other than like me like putting challenge rating 25 monsters against you guys, you're gonna kill all of them. You're level 17. You're really hard to kill. So the only way I can challenge you guys is by putting really confusing weird stuff in front of you and having you guys figure out why. And
Oh,
in
there's
order
other
for you
ways
to
you could
figure
challenge
out
us.
why,
I'm not gonna help you with that though.
well, in order for you guys to figure out why, there has to be a why.
We had a discussion with Dan. It's just like, hey, like this, and we're talking about monsters and stuff, and like, oh yeah, this one, I really love this one, and look there, and I'm realizing like, hey, I should shut the fuck up because I'm in another campaign that Jody TMs. I'm gonna be quiet now.
Where do you guys think the Beholder Dragon came from? But anyway, so that's really cool. The other thing that I'm actually more excited about is they announced the release of, what's it called? The new Vecna book. I can't remember what it's called.
Eve of Vecna.
Yeah, something like that. Oh yeah, it's Eve of Vecna, and everybody, because of stylized V looks a lot like a Y. Everyone thought it was Eye of Vecna, and it's not. It's Eve of Vecna. But the thing that I'm excited about that particular campaign is not the fact that Vecna is all right. I think Vecna, like the idea of Vecna and everything has just been blown way out of proportion since it showed up on Stranger Things. He's a cool villain, don't get me wrong. He's not the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to Dungeons and Dragons. That is, of course,
He's a big name, though.
Zombie Owlbears.
We don't associate with new money. Let's move on.
But the thing that gets me excited about Eva Vecna is it's a campaign designed for 10th to 20 level characters. It is high level D&D, which Wizards of the Coast had kind of written off like 5 or 6 years ago. Basically ever since, I want to say the second adventure that they released, the Temple of Elemental Evil, that one went up to like level 16 or 17. Everything after that, they were slowly lowering the level to the point where every book that they've published recently is not designed to go much higher than about level 12. Which to me is a huge disservice because high level D&D is really fun. It's just very different from low level D&D. So I'm super thrilled to see what happens.
See, I always thought it was like, because I know plenty of DMs are like, please, for the love of God, put some high level stuff out there. It's killing me. And I think I always felt like D&D's was like, always felt like they were going like, shit, we don't know either. High level stuff's insane.
Well, I've gone on this rant so many times, but I'm going to do it again. The reason a lot of dungeon masters don't like high level D&D is it's a different game. 100%, it's different, which is true about literally every other game or sport. Like one of my favorite examples, back when the whole women's soccer thing was going on, there became a lot of debate about how different women's soccer is from men. And it quite literally is an entirely different game. Women's soccer, they focus on different things. They play a different amount of games. They have different training regimens than men's soccer. They are quite literally completely different games that just happen to use similar rule sets. And the same thing is true. And this is, again, like college football versus professional football. They're completely different games. You run different plays. You run different setups. They're just different. Despite the fact that they use the same rules. Same thing is true about low level and high level D&D. They are very, very different games. And because so much...
I don't know what you're talking about. Excuse me while Rowan summons a spirit bomb.
There's...
Give me another 3 episodes.
You have to go, ah! But, because so much of D&D is run at low levels, most DMs have a ton of experience playing low-level D&D, and challenging your players in low-level D&D is a very, very different situation. And once you get to high-level D&D, all of the stuff that you used to do at low-level D&D doesn't work anymore. You can't really give them challenging combat encounters that the challenging part is you could die from this, because death is merely a suggestion in high-level D&D. You can't come up with situations where the players are effectively forced to retreat. Because again, death is merely a suggestion. And so in order to challenge high-level players, you either have to ramp up the difficulty so high that it's just not fun for anyone because you're stacking the deck massively against them, or you have to get creative. and do weird things like bury an entire city underneath another city and have them slowly find clues to it. Or creates a weird situation where they find out that a household has been apparently eating people and preserving them, but in a partially rotted state. Like that's how high level D&D works. What was that?
A fun one I did. Just this isn't like a big thing. It's just a trap that they couldn't. They kind of fucked over and triggered. Was I just casted a thin 9th level darkness spell. Directly behind this darkness spell is a prismatic wall spell.
Again, really great.
So the moment you step through, I'm just like, make me like 10 saving throws.
There was the one where Jody did like, I 100% thought like, no, Jody's not. He's not. Is he throwing that old chestnut out there? He would sphere of darkness over a sphere of annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
and that's 100% stolen from Gary Gygax in the Tomb of Annihilation.
I know, I'm well aware.
But yeah, I mean, Gygax understood that if he wanted to challenge players, he couldn't just be Will Death.
Tomb of Annihilation was actually a direct result of his players talking shit.
Yeah, that was them going, man, this is so easy. Oh, okay.
Oh, they were talking shit like he's not gonna kill us, and he's like, I just imagine him just like going, I'm sorry, what? The fuck did you just say?
In Dungeons and Dragons Online, every adventure that you go on actually has a dungeon master that narrates stuff. So it feels like it's one of the reasons I love D&D Online. And every so often they get guest narrators. Like the Temple of Elemental Evil storyline, which is really good, is narrated by Will Wheaton. However, every Halloween, every October, they run a Halloween event. And the dungeons that you run for it are narrated by Gary Gygax, which is one of the last things that he did before he passed away. So if you ever want to hear the person that created Dungeons and Dragons DM you through a D&D adventure, go play D&D Online. The holiday content is always free, so you don't have to buy any of it. And yeah, it was one of the coolest. It was one of the coolest things that I wasn't expecting when I just walk in and they go, guest dungeon master Gary Gygax, and you can hear him in your headphones or coming out of your speakers, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, I just wanted to mention the whole thing about Eve of Vecna and it being a high level adventure because I'm really excited.
I just looked it up. It's Vecna, Eve of Ruin.
There we go. Vecna, Eve of Ruin. Cool. It looks good, guys, as far as I can tell. And again, as much as I think Vecna has been blown way out of proportion, it's still a really cool villain.
Oh, they're cool. And they're just fucked up.
Like, especially if you have to deal with Is it Black Razor is the sword?
I believe so.
Yeah, because basically the whole lore of where Vecna's hand went was he had a lieutenant that had a cool, cool sword, and the lieutenant betrayed him, chopped off his hand.
What do you mean, Sword of Koss?
Sword of Koss, that's what it is. Sword of Koss, thank you.
What am I thinking of?
I think Black Razor is one of the sentient weapons.
It is.
Yeah, but Black Razor's a sentient weapon. They have to kill something with a soul every 3 days, or it takes you over. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what adventure it's from.
But yeah, if I remember correctly, Black Razor was one of the weapons that you theoretically was it Hexblades could form a pact with.
Just Dungeon Master's Guide.
But yeah, no, Sword of Koss is a really, really cool story. Like the entire lore of where Vecna comes from is really interesting. I'm interested to see what happens because I think, again, I love high level D&D. There's a reason that all of these guys are in tier 4 now and are getting to do cool ass shit. Yeah, I can't wait to get past this damn village so you guys can get back to dealing with the generals. But
you gave us clues. Like this is literally the opposite problem most DMs have.
I'm not I never want to discourage my players from, like, I never want to feel like I'm railroading you guys. And so if you decide to go somewhere, I am going to very quickly write a purpose. Like, everything in this world has a purpose, and everything exists there on purpose. So I'm going to come up with a purpose. And a lot of this I've kind of been writing as you guys have been exploring, because again, I wasn't expecting you to go here. But it all ties into what happened. Like, I know what happened to this town. You guys don't. And everything that you guys have come here has just been me kind of finally writing down what I already kind of had planned in my head, and then filling in little details that didn't matter before and now do, because you're exploring parts that require those extra details. So I'm happy that you guys are going in the direction that you want to. But I have a lot of other shit to do in this campaign. So if you guys keep, like, again, if you guys keep unraveling threads and stuff like that, I'm going to keep making stuff for you guys to find.
Okay.
But
Don't
understand
threaten us
there
with
are
a good time in XP.
there are 2 generals out there that are still doing bad shit. That if you don't eventually confront them, they will confront you. Anyway. Any other cool things happening in the tabletop RPG world? Break.
Well, Humblewood looks interesting.
Yeah, Humblewood looks interesting. I looked over some of the character options, and none of them really jumped out as, ooh, I want those. But D&D Beyond is getting a lot of third-party content, which is encouraging to me, because I'm hoping that means that I can finally publish my classes on the DM's Guild onto D&D Beyond, which would make my life immensely easier. So I'm hoping that
It would
happens.
make sense if they did that.
Well,
don't
you
all-
already can publish things on D&D Beyond, or publish things on the DM's Guild and sell them on D&D Beyond. They just don't have an option for custom classes. So I can't publish any of my custom classes on D&D Beyond, because D&D Beyond doesn't allow for custom classes. As soon as they get rid of that,
Can't you make a custom class?
you can't. You can make custom subclasses. You can't make custom classes.
Ah, okay.
That was why in one of my other campaigns, or it might have been this one. No, it was Traversing the Veil, and then
You're a Dragon Rider.
yeah, we had a one of the players before they dropped out wanted to change classes and wanted to be a dragoon, and so I went and I created a fighter subclass, and then also made a magic item that gave them all the abilities that they would normally get in the Dragoon subclass and in the Dragon Knight class, and we just had to kind of pretend that their fighter abilities didn't exist. And that's the kind of workaround. It's not a good workaround, but it is a workaround that I've done to get a character sheet in D&D Beyond that you can roll things on. But I would love for them to let me be able to make custom classes, because then I would 100% publish both the Dragon Knight and the Blood Knight on here, because I think both of them are really, really solid 5th edition classes. So, but yeah, that's a new thing on D&D Beyond. Break, the tabletop RPG that I kickstarted like 2 years ago, that's supposed to be like anime JRPG themed RPG, has started printing. So very shortly here, people that didn't back it might get a chance to actually buy the RPG, and it looks amazing. They have 2 classes in there. One of them is called a Murder Princess, and I love it. I can't remember what the other. I think the other one's a Battle Princess. They're both super cool and interesting. And then they also have a class that I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically you are a shopkeeper, or you're just a regular person that accidentally got involved in adventuring. And one of the abilities you get as you level up is you have a giant backpack that is part of your character, and eventually you can turn it either into a shield or a weapon that you beat people with. So it is a cool... You're just a random, like, cook that decided to go adventuring one day. Or didn't even decide. You accidentally went adventuring one day.
You were just outside tending the weeds at night, and a wizard pulled you into a house. You're Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah. Samwise Gamgee, have you been eavesdropping? I've been dropping no eaves, sir. I did hear quite a bit about a dark ring and the end of the world and everything like that. It's such a great scene. Sean
You
Astin's
did
amazing.
you did see they got to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, I did see that. It was funny.
Jesus Christ, he went fucking dark. That was amazing to watch. He's like, "What? Really? Okay."
All right, we'll see what happens.
Sean Astin just looked this there going, "Okay, dude."
But yeah. So anyway, cool stuff happening in the tabletop RPG world. I may start doing some more Essence 20 stuff on my YouTube channel because people seem primed for it. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah. Otherwise, I think that's all for announcements.
Oh, as always, Matt Koval, let Dale Kingsmill name your system.
Yes, I told Dale about that as well. In one of the videos that she posted like a month ago or something. By the way, Imp and me have started a movement whose entire purpose is to convince Matt Colville to let you.
Movement.
Yeah, hey, we're a movement. Two people are a movement. But yeah, our entire purpose is to convince Matt Colville to let you name his RPG. Because Dale's pumped for it too. And Dale's friends with Colville, so yeah. Everybody I've talked to that has actually looked through the stuff for Colville's RPG is pumped for it. So I'm excited to see what happens. I backed it. Like I think I just got the digital stuff because the physical stuff was just too expensive for me. But I backed it. I'm going to be getting both books, which I'm super excited about, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I think it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has discovered something unpleasant. After exploring a mansion where apparently cannibalism has been happening, they started discovering hints that the noble family that lived there was not quite as happy as it seemed. A court composer that seemed to be overly preoccupied with the wife of the noble family, a death that happened, and eventually a carnivorous plant creature where they found the ring of one of the members of the nobility after killing it, have all hinted that something very sinister happened in this house. In addition to that, they also discovered hints that the town of Middenwell may not be the first town that has occupied this area. All of these curiosities are available to them, while the ticking time bomb that is the generals of the Dark Lord still exist in the world, are still plotting, are still growing in power. And that is where we return. So, as a reminder for me, I think the last time we played, 'cause it's been a couple weeks, because we had a 5 Wednesday month last month. If I remember correctly, you guys, the last thing that we did was you fought the weird plants and found the ring with the nobles. Was it a signet ring?
It was a lady's signet ring.
Yeah, lady's signet ring. So I think that was the absolute last thing we did last time, right? Okay.
I think we went to an inn.
We went back to the inn.
Oh yeah, you guys
I
went
had
back to an inn to get to sleep.
a disappointing meal that I believe Relwyn was going to go and
yeah.
Yeah, because they basically did the equivalent of boiled a chicken and smothered it in ketchup.
Yeah, there was no ketchup. It was just boiled chicken. Seasoning.
Turns
Apparently,
into, turns into a Mighty Python skit. Oh, I would have killed it. I would have loved it. They gave us ketchup. They gave us a ramekin filled with broken glass. I would have loved a ramekin of broken glass.
so no, you guys had a very, very bland and unfulfilling meal. You guys were able to get some sleep in very bland and unappealing rooms. And then when you woke up, I believe the intention from Rowan was he was going to cook real food.
That was
for
a
you
lot safe to
guys.
guess.
So I'm going to say as you all wake up, you wake up to the smell of.
No one has a cutscene. No one had a cutscene in the middle of the night.
Yeah. You guys wake up to the smell of like roasting vegetables and frying meats and other things like that.
Oh, it's breakfast time, so yeah, so it would be, farmer's breakfast type situation.
So you guys wake up to good smelling food for the first time in a while. And you guys can see Rowan in the room that you guys inhabit. Rowan has effectively kind of jury-rigged his own little kitchen.
Oh no, I would have gone down to the kitchen. I would have like
they wouldn't let you. And if you
I
do
will
go in the
try.
kitchen, you like it has a single stock pot.
they have cared because they seem to be very apathetic. He's be like,
Well,
okay,
let's put it
I
this way.
need to help you. I need to help you. Let me show you.
If you attempt to go down to the kitchen in and of itself and force your way in, the longer you are in the kitchen, the more people start showing up and encouraging you to leave. And if you're in there for longer than about 10 minutes, they start physically like taking your hand. None of it is extremely aggressive. Like, none of them are leaving marks on you or anything, but they seem very, very adamant that you need to leave.
Okay, so they wouldn't be apathetic enough to let me cook.
They
And show them.
still have this strange like emotionless thing, but for whatever reason, they just keep over and over going, "You can't be here. You need to leave." And then when you didn't listen to one of them, 2 would show up, and then 4, and then 16, and they just
Okay.
you don't know where these people are coming from, other than they're walking through the door into the kitchen. But they just keep going there, and yeah, like I said, if you're there for more than about 5 or 10 minutes,
He would
you
try to
have-
convince. Rowan. It wouldn't be in Rowan's attitude to try and barge and
Yeah.
take over.
So
He would be insistent, but he'd be like, "Okay, fine," and then
Yeah.
he would probably go back up with what he's left with.
Mhm. So
Man
Or-
has seasonings.
Randomly generated Oblivion NPCs keep walking into the inn.
yeah.
It turns into that Minecraft where you're just farming animals.
So you guys are able to get a decent meal from Rowan, whether it's partially cooked in the kitchen or he makes his own kitchen in one of your rooms, and that comes with his chef feat benefit of temporary hit points.
Yes.
So now that that's done, I guess my question for you, since you know what would have happened, we haven't specifically stated what did happen. So my question for you, Rowan, is would you have gone far enough? Because again, the attitude that you would get from all of these people is again that very much apathetic. But if you tried to tried to go in, they would have just told you no. And if you didn't take no for an answer, more and more people would just continue telling you no, and
I
eventually
would have been insistent, but then I would have because it wouldn't be in Roman's nature
Okay.
to barge past and
Then yeah, after being told off by, not really told off, but basically told no, you can't do that in a very apathetic, emotionless way. I would say probably if you were insistent, you probably would have been told by about 3 or 4 different people working in the inn as they would come and back up the other person. But
when they started
still,
saying that shit in unison, you
Yeah.
can't be back here, sir.
but still very much deadpan and not using any inflection or anything like that. So that is what you experienced. So after all that is done, what would you all like to do?
I'll leave that to you guys. I'm looking stuff over.
Dead air is always a good thing on a live play.
Val will just go down while everybody else is finishing up and getting ready, and she'll just start like basically like trying to play the most rhythmic, foot tappingest song she can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rasputin.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see like any kind of movement from these people, any kind of like toe tapping. Just,
They seem oblivious to the fact that you're playing. Like even when, like normally, like you've played in taverns and inns before. Normally, as soon as you bring out an instrument, there will at least be one or two people that will kind of acknowledge that it's happening, either from good experiences going, hey, we're going to get some entertainment, or from bad experiences going, hey, someone needs to go break that. And first of all, this early in the morning, the tavern itself is employees only. No, just not that it's not open. It's just no one's come in. And the few employees that are in there that seem to be like there's a guy up at the bar that seems to be washing the same like 4 cups repeatedly, and then there are 2, because it's a decent size inn, especially with how large Middenwell is. It's a big inn. So you have about 2 servers that just keep going in and basically setting tables and putting like not like full dinner settings or anything like that, but putting stuff on them for people that come to sit down, and then cleaning that up, washing the table off, moving to the next one. And they keep kind of just rotating around the room, kind of repeating the same mundane to the task. And as you pull out and you start playing, you literally could not exist and nothing would change. They seem completely oblivious to the fact that you're doing anything. I guess my question to you, are you sitting at a table? Have you kind of set yourself up somewhere? Because most inns will have an area where someone can perform because bards are common.
Yeah.
So did you find effectively the stage to do it at? Were you sitting at a table?
I'm thinking over by the stage,
Okay.
because I just kind of want to be a little out of the way, obviously, but just kind of want to be able to keep an eye on people.
Okay. So because you are, as you said, out of the way, you have no interaction with them. They don't really touch the stage at all. And again, they seem completely oblivious to you. Another thing kind of weird, again, from playing fairly often, you know, if you're playing something good, people will wander in off the street to hear.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why inns and taverns will let good bards play, because it attracts more business. Nothing. You can kind of see out the door a little bit. You every so often will see someone on the street. No one even acknowledges that there's an inn there.
I will just kind of like stop mid-song and be like, and then I will start playing the most grating, like not even music, just bing, like just the worst.
Pure dissonance. Yeah, same reaction. Though I will say, if you play it long enough, your friends will probably hear it. Because good music you can kind of drown out. Bad, dissonant, out of tune stuff, you can't, unless you're literally tone deaf.
I'm attempting to do the musical equivalent of nails on a chalkboard.
So Relwyn and Argenta, you guys would eventually hear kind of coming up, echoing off of the stairs and everything, this, it's not fair to call it music, this noise pollution coming from the tavern. Like every so often it sounds like a cat is being strangled, and then
Yes.
if anyone has ever heard really bad violin, or someone intentionally playing a guitar poorly, it's remarkable how similar to a cat dying while in heat it sounds. So, do you guys want to do anything about that, or just continue finishing your breakfasts?
Well, question: has Vala eaten breakfast?
Yeah, she kind of ate.
Yeah.
From what she said, she kind of ate.
Okay.
Took
Yeah,
a
I
plate to
scarfed
go
down real
effectively.
quick.
So
Yeah.
Argentus heard some bad music before, so she's just gonna like let Vala do her thing.
Okay.
But she's gonna
I think
more.
with Relwyn's passive perception, he's definitely gonna be like, is she working through something?
No, I think she's trying to get her eyes out of the people here. But Argenta's just gonna kind of people watch,
Mhm.
and like a few of the questions are like, do these people breathe, have a pulse, and has she ever seen them eat themselves, like eat food?
Ooh, good question. Uh, so if you
It was
go
part of the
down,
motion.
I guess my question for you: where do you want to people watch? You can watch out one of your windows. You can go down and look at the
Oh,
workers.
kind of like the main room where she could see out on the street, but also the workers.
Okay, cool. So why don't you make me? I'll let you choose perception or investigation, whichever you like.
All right. It's gonna be a 23 in perception.
Okay. So, looking around, you notice kind of the same thing for the workers, at least, that Vala does, where these people are effectively going through the same NPC script over and over again. They set a table, they clean the new table, they set a new table, they go back to, they'll do it in generally like 4 or 6 table things where they'll go through, set them all up, go to the next group, take them all down, wash the table, set them all up. You just kind of rotate their way through the common room. And then the person behind the counter is just washing the same or wiping the same 4 glasses over and over and over again. They don't talk to each other. They don't really acknowledge that the other ones are there. They're just going through the motions. If you look out on the street, the streets are still mostly bare compared to the last time you guys were here, where the town was bustling. Let's say you spent like 20 minutes doing this while Argenta was slowly murdering a cat, or not Argenta, sorry, Vala was slowly murdering a cat. You probably see maybe a dozen people walk past or in an area that you can see out the door. And they all seem to be doing it with purpose. Like they're walking to somewhere. But there's no expression, there's no real urgency. They don't seem to wander, they don't seem to meander. They mostly walk in straight lines. Like even when they change direction, they like go somewhere, do a turn, and then keep going. So, yeah. And again, no expression. When people pass each other on the roads, there's no acknowledgement of other people there. They just walk. No one has run into anyone. There's been no collisions, no interactions or anything like that. So it doesn't seem like they're completely unaware of other people, because if they were, they would run into them. But they do not interact with anyone. At least not that you've seen thus far. And again, it's relatively early in the morning too, so a lot of the town hasn't woken up yet.
I am going to cast Detect Thoughts.
Interesting. Are you casting it on a specific person at first, or are you just kind of openly casting it?
I'm openly casting it at first. I want to get surface thoughts from those around me.
So when you
We're
cast
trying to
it,
find a Wi-Fi signal.
probably the most bizarre thing about this is because you, if I remember correctly, in the text of the spell itself, you can effectively use it to kind of find out where conscious beings are, effectively, right?
That is one of the things.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody's invisible, I can detect their presence.
So as you do that, the only present that you detect is Argenta.
I am going to attempt to focus on one of the servants.
Okay? As you do, the spell works. So it's not like you're attempting to use it on an object or something like that where it would just fail, but there's nothing there. There's no thoughts.
I am going to walk up to them and go, excuse me, is there a menu for breakfast, or...
Sir, you wanting to find a seat?
Well, I'm just wondering, like, what are the... Is there a lot of people that come in here for breakfast? What's your favorite special? What would you have if you were me?
If you'd like breakfast, sir, I can bring it out to you.
But what's your favorite thing for breakfast?
It'll be 2 copper per person.
Am I getting any kind of
Every time she says something, she thinks it before she says it. Exactly. Which is, again, another thing that is very bizarre. Most people, when they speak, their brain goes a lot faster than their mouth. So you'll have like 3 or 4 different thoughts that happen, and they will eventually kind of conglomerate into whatever it is that you say. But from having used this spell at least a few times, that's generally what you expect, is this weird kind of cacophony of thoughts that are very difficult to understand, and then a word. And it actually takes a lot of training and practice to be able to decipher those thoughts before they become a statement. But you've done that. And this is literally a single sentence, and it comes out verbatim what they thought. So they are thinking, but not in a way that you've ever seen another person think in the history of your existence.
Thank you. And I will go out and find Argenta and relay that.
And as soon as you stop talking to them, again, it's like, from a thought perspective, they stop existing by the reference of the detect thought spells. So it was kind of interesting that as soon as you interacted with them, they kind of appeared on your radar. But as soon as you stop, they also stop existing. If that does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I'll go find Argenta. It's so weird. These people, they don't have thoughts until you talk to them, and then their thought is what they're about to say. Like, Argenta, how is the music that I just played? And then I will listen to Argenta go, oh.
Yeah. What if I put a bucket on one of their heads? No, I'm kidding.
I kind of like the idea that even though Vala is talking to Argenta, Argenta is still in her own head going, if I did this to them. Oh, Vala.
Well, unless you do anything that actually disrupts their day-to-day operations, they really don't care much what happens.
It's just so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was almost like when I was trying to get food for us, I wasn't part of their normal, so I think if I had pushed harder, they would have forcibly tried to evacuate me.
I don't know if they're humanoids still. I don't know what they are. It's not really my wheelhouse.
Well, they're definitely people still. I mean, they're not like what we encountered on the hill.
Are they like... There's
They're
something
fine
wrong
people.
about them, is the thing.
Well, clearly, it's not magic also, because we we ascertained that last time. Um, but something has definitely affected the area. Could be a byproduct, something. Because it's literally affecting the actual livelihood of the area. The things around here, like you saw, you remember the food was like when we first came through. It seemed to
Yes.
be that seems to be affecting the people as well, whatever it is, as opposed to you go further up to where the closer you get up there, everything's more lush.
Well, do we want to see what's underground? Maybe we'll
We are
find answers down there.
How, where about?
There was the one spot by the we saw according to the mini thing was by the general store.
Yes. I think we should head over there and try to find our way into the basement. Find our way underground. Let's. Well, we'll start trying to find the general store.
Okay. It's effectively it's in the same kind of general square area of the town, just kind of on the opposite side. So it's less than a minute walk away.
While we're doing that, I think Relwyn actually will. I don't. There's actually a. I think there's. I don't know if a range was ever actually talked about. He will take the pearl out and touch base with the sheriff real quick. Since we did have a general plan about what was going on, he'll definitely use a charge and go. Currently in Middenwell, we were from Middenwell. We were going to because I believe we were going to go to Klausgate, correct?
Yeah.
And so he said, like, currently in Middenwell, strange goings on showed here. Seems to be something, a town underneath the town. Something seems to have recently affected the populace. We're investigating.
If I remember correctly, these particular pearls are not like a full sending spell.
It's because what you gave me, and I put in. It's a similar fashion to Sending Stone, but they come in pairs. Each is a small pearl. When you squeeze one of the pearls, you can then begin talking. The user can be heard speaking after squeezing the pearl, even if the pearl is placed in a pocket. As long as the user is within talking distance, conversation can occur. A pearl has 6 charges. Each charge will transmit about 30 seconds for a conversation. The action of using the pearl was essentially the same as casting the sending spell.
Okay. So I had to remember what the limitation was
Yeah.
on.
There was no distance limit was ever
Well,
stated.
I wasn't working on just the amount of information that was allowed to be transmitted. So, with what you said there, you were a little bit pushing what the 30-second limit would be, but you get it all through, and the response that you get is tax collectors came, tax collectors left. As far as we can tell, no negative repercussions. We paid our taxes. And then he closes it off with they're on their way to you.
Oh my.
Okay, apparently the tax collectors had visited. They had come through. They didn't have any problems as far as they could tell. They paid their taxes. Tax collectors came and went, and they are currently en route here.
I will say, Railwind, because you grew up here, one thing you would know is in order to get to well, you grew up in this world. Is what I'm saying. In order to get to Scornmote, the only way to get there is through Middenwell, like the only road. So the fact that the tax collectors came and you guys didn't see them at some point, doesn't make sense to you.
Well, do I know that they always stick to the roads?
Yeah, that's kind of just accepted. Like anyone that's had to deal with taxes in any way, shape, or form, and with you being a part of the clergy, you've probably had to deal with them more than you would like to. Not like super, super often, but you'd be more aware of them than the kind of regular populace. And you know that they follow a pretty predictable, I'm going to try this one more time, predictable pattern. They start in Rathfont, they hit Minwell, Ilmorn, Minwell, Scornwote, Minwell, then come down to Clawsgate, Ebenthord, Meisenford, and then work all the way back to Rathfort. Every time, like clockwork. And it takes them, to get through every single city, takes them about 6 months, roughly. And
If they're on such clockwork, would I know if, like, are they on schedule?
Not particularly. Again, they should have stopped in Midwell first, and as far as the because you roughly would have to pay taxes twice a year, because again, 6 months, it's half a year, and so at this particular point, not being from this particular part of Crucitalia, you wouldn't know exactly where they would normally be in this half of the route. But you know that before you left Meisenford, it had been maybe a month since you guys had paid taxes. And it's only been maybe a month since you've been on this whole adventure. I think a little less than that. So theoretically, if they were in Meisenford a month ago, they probably shouldn't be any further than maybe Klausgate or Middenwell. And Meisenford is on the end of the route. So they wouldn't go back to Scornmote, they would go back to Rathfont and wait there until their next round of stuff.
I think Relwyn actually would probably use another charge off of the Pearl just to. I know what you're saying, but I think he would. That probably would have been the result of him postulating that. To be like, because again, he wouldn't know their schedule precisely in other places. Be like, are they early?
And
we didn't encounter them.
And as you're waiting for a response, the response is taking longer than you think it should. Like a minute passes. And for a sending spell, that would generally mean that you weren't getting a response. Since these pearls are not exactly a sending spell, you're not exactly sure how they're going to work. But probably about 10 minutes later, you get a response. Which is effectively... I thought it starts off, no, they were right on time, and then the longer the message goes on, the more he kind of starts contradicting himself of, but no, that doesn't actually make sense. And by the end of it, it actually gets cut off a little bit, but you see, you hear him kind of realizing that something about what he's saying is wrong, and yeah, the message cuts off at 30 seconds.
If he wanted to jump to saying he could also use the Pearl.
Yeah, he could use it again if he wanted to complete it, but that's all you get from him. For right now, again, it may be in an hour or two he'll send another message, but for right now you just get this weird thing of, no, they're exactly on. No, that doesn't make sense because didn't we pay? And he's just it's almost like thinking out loud kind of the thing, and eventually it just cuts off as he goes, no, this isn't right. They shouldn't be. Cuts off.
Rowan will relate that. Because I don't think it's quiet, so I could definitely, they would see me having the conversation on my end at the very least, and like, well, I think we had, okay, well, he didn't say there. He said apparently everything went well, went okay.
The way that the pearls are magically meant to work is anyone that is close enough to have a quiet conversation with you will be able to hear it, and anyone beyond probably about like 5 or 10 feet away will be completely oblivious to the noises coming out of the pearl. So it's designed so that either a single person can hear it or a very small group of people can hear it, and then everyone else is oblivious to it. So if you had the conversation close enough to them, they could have heard it with you. But that's entirely up to you.
Okay. Well, I think we already knew the result that was probably going to happen, but I believe we've further confirmation we've got someone's attention.
Oh, I think we've had their attention. I mean,
So either they completely bypassed us, I don't know the likelihood we would have missed them, or perhaps they decided, either they just apparated or they decided to go right through everything straight to there.
I think that might be the likelier possibility.
So if we're gonna, so we are gonna do this, we definitely. I don't know if we want people to necessarily, if we can do it sneakily or not. These people seem to be in a rather stuck series of motions. So if they, as long as I think it's maybe they don't pay attention to us accessing beneath, maybe we should be okay.
Yeah. Let's try it and find out. And just kind of walk in the back door.
Okay. So as you, well, if you attempt to go in the back door of the shop, it's locked. And as far as you can tell, it looks like there's probably a bar on the inside that is keeping it. So there's no like lock to pick or anything. It's just a bar.
Okay.
Which again, not particularly uncommon for a shop to lock its back door.
I cast Big Beast now.
Hey, Slop.
Go ahead.
Rowan looks to Argenta. Please don't kick it in.
I'm not gonna kick it in. I step through the door as I cast my ethereal step.
Okay, so you guys just watch as Argenta is just kind of running, not like running, but like walking with purpose towards a wall or a door. And then instead of stopping at the door, just proceeds to continue walking.
Argenta's the Jedi's, the men who stare at goats.
Once I like rematerialize on the other side, I'll flip the bar and open the door.
Okay, so very simple, not a really thick bar to move. When you come in, you notice that you are in a storage room effectively, with a bunch of boxes and crates and various kind of accoutrement, some lanterns, a bunch of lantern oil, rope, stuff like that you would expect to see in a general store.
Could we see via the model if we are actually in the right area to gain access?
The model itself, because it was small, was not particularly. You wouldn't be able to sell like where in the shop that you'd be able to find this, but it did kind of point to the shop. Again, the model is still in the mansion, so
yeah.
But as far as you can tell, I mean, it looked like it came directly to the general store. As far as where in the general store there would be a connection to it, you had no idea.
Okay. Because I was curious, like, where the positioning of, like, stairs or a ramp or something.
Yeah, the model itself was not quite that accurate in that part. So all you could really tell is that the tunnel kind of emptied out underneath it. So. So you guys, like, I don't know, a few seconds after Argenta walks through the wall, you hear the sound of metals or wood scraping on wood, and then door opens. Argenta's standing there.
Okay. We'll walk in and start looking around.
Okay. So again, the space back here is not remarkably large. Like, as far as the footprint of the building that you're in, the kind of check in the back area makes up maybe an eighth of the total floor space. Most of the floor space of this place is the, I guess, showroom, for lack of a better term, the place that's open to the public. And then there's probably one other like office kind of area beneath it that also has, there's stairs upstairs because the shop owner lives upstairs. So, but yeah, you guys are in a storeroom. lots of crates and boxes and things like that.
Alright.
What would y'all like to do?
He'll just begin looking around, seeing if I could find anything.
Sure.
We know that there's a hidden access somewhere.
Go ahead and make me an investigation check. And do you have a specific thing that you are looking for, or just kind of looking anywhere for something? Do you have anything particular that you think Relwyn would focus on?
I think, well, because we are in a storeroom, correct? So I'm guessing floor, shelves, walls.
Yeah,
Nothing-
floor,
nothing-
shelves, and also a bunch of crates.
Okay.
And there are there's a few sconces that have lanterns on them that are lit, so it's actually lit in here. They're not super bright or anything like that, but they're bright enough that you can see everything.
I think he would pretty much look at it like, because he would review it kind of like when they were in the mansion and we were starting to find things. I think so. He would actually go through and like check the sconces, check there. Is there a hidden thing for the shelves? And then obviously looking for like a trap door of some kind.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make me an investigation check then.
Okay. To be honest, I'm giving you a chance and you're failing me. Okay, so that's an 8.
So as you're kind of looking through stuff, like you hold on to one of the sconces and it's solid. You start looking at the shelves themselves. The shelves that are in here are not quite like bookshelves where they're like attached to the wall. They're more like kind of self-standing shelves. I can't think of another word to describe it, but they're not really attached to anything. And some of them are like in the middle of the room in that. And so having them be part of like a secret door or something is a little bit low. But you're kind of looking through things and you eventually come to the area that just has a lot of there's a bunch of vials here and empty bottles that could be used for things like potions and stuff like that. There's some lamps here, but a lot of kind of glassware. And as you're kind of looking through it, your elbow kind of bumps into something and a few of the vials drop and shatter on the ground. There was nothing in them, but now there's some glass there, and you hear from the main room, "Hey, what's going on in there?" And you start hearing footsteps kind of coming towards the room that you guys are in. What would you guys like to do?
Vala will position herself to intercept the people coming back towards
Okay.
the back to be like, oh,
All right, so
Rowan goes,
it's very distracting.
So eventually, the other door that leaves this room kind of opens up, and you can see he's somewhat older man. He's wearing kind of a what's it called? A smock kind of thing, an apron kind of thing, and he's got some extra pockets. He comes like, "Oh, what's going on in here? Oh, I don't seem to remember bringing you in."
Oh, sorry. I'm looking for some tea, and I think I got lost. Do you have?
Well, for sure you got lost back here. Like, this ain't where we keep the tea. I mean, if you gotta know, like, the tea that we keep in this whole, like, building, like, I don't go through selling a lot of tea. Normally you'd have to go to something like the inn or something like that, yonder, hey. But for right now, you know, you're in the wrong place. And I don't seem to remember you kind of walking into my business. So maybe you and your friends, you can come out to the place where you're supposed to be instead of being way back here.
My friends? No. It's just
Val.
me, and I'm going to cast. Do I have friend? I have friends. I'm going to cast friends on them.
Okay. That's a save, right?
Uh,
Wisdom save?
I believe it is a no. Friends, for the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. The spell ends. The creature realizes you use magic to influence its mood and becomes hostile to you.
So there's no save.
There's no save. I just have advantage on charisma checks.
Oh, cool. So as you sit there and you go, "Friend, we're friends." And you kind of touch him on the shoulder. He goes, Bobby! Oh, it's so great to see you. And he just gives you a big hug. Oh, it's been so great to see you. Why are you waiting back here? It's all dusty and things are just not very nice back here. Come into the front. You know what I'll do? I'll go see if I can't get someone to bring us some tea. If that's what you're looking for, come on out.
Oh, yes. So yeah, I'll follow him out while they continue searching.
Okay. So, Bobby, I was having a conversation with my wife where we were talking about how Bobby, kind of a strange name for a lady as fine as you are, but
how is the missus?
Oh, she's doing great. She's been experimenting with this zucchini bread. I'm all for a good zucchini. You bake it, you roast it. It's real good. But putting it in bread, that's kind of a weird thing. Yes, Rowan.
Rowan is noticing this motherfucker's a lot more lively than the other people of this village.
Most definitely he is. But yeah, so this zucchini bread is the most... I love the woman to death. And so, of course, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, oh, this is the greatest thing that I have ever had. But then as soon as she's looking away, I'm looking for a napkin. I'm looking for something. Because bread is not supposed to have a crunch to it. I mean, unless you toast it. But toasted bread is very different. And it's not the kind of crunch you expect.
Now, fuck it. Hey, I heard there's a secret tunnel underneath this shop. Is that true? You can trust me.
Secret tunnel? I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, if I had me a secret tunnel, I'd be using it every day just to get away from the missus, if you know what I mean. Because now with her zucchini bread, and she's thinking about trying this thing where, see, you take and you make this pot, and then you put it over the fire, and then you just put the stuff in it, and you just never let the fire go out, and you just continue to keep putting stuff. She says it turns into this great stew that you just put more water in every so often. But
Rowan is holding his mace. He's just going. He's thinking to himself, should I brain this man?
I will ask, have you had the chicken at the inn? It's very bland.
You know what? The missus, she doesn't like us going out to eat. She takes it as a personal insult. That's where the zucchini bread came from. So,
where is the missus?
She's upstairs, She's tending to that weird soup. Again, she's been cooking it for a week now. And to me, I understand it's on the fire and so it should be healthy, but who keeps a soup for a week? That just sounds like a bad idea. It sounds like you're trying to get sick, is what I'm saying, don't you know?
Do you travel a lot?
Have you come out? Because according to what Vala said, Vala kind of...
I was trying to direct him away while you guys...
So if you want to come out...
I will walk out and come in the front.
Rowan's looking like...
I will walk out and come in the front of the building.
Oh, okay. Sure. And so as you come in, you guys hear the ding, 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 ding. Goes, oh, welcome to Sven's General Emporium. This is my buddy Bobby. What can I do you for?
Did you looks to Bobby and goes did you find the tea?
Oh, are you friends with Bobby? Bobby, you need to introduce me to your friends. And about this time, the friend spell, because I believe is it 10 minutes or a minute?
It's a minute.
It's a minute.
This is the cantrip version of Friends.
Okay, so...
This is the Kirkland brand Friends.
Take inspiration for that. I love the Kirkland reference. So, as he sits there, he's going, Bobby, how dare you sit there and you're trying to ensorcel my mind with your magics, and that's not okay. And who are these people here that are you all trying to ensorcel? And he goes behind the counter and he picks up a soup ladle. He's like, don't make me use this. The wife has been using it on that Frankenstein soup that she's been making. So I don't know how many bacteria are on this, but you don't want it getting in your wounds.
Argenta will pull out 5 gold.
Well, if you were looking for something to buy, I mean, why did you didn't have to ensorcel my brain. Bobby, you and I are not on good terms anymore. Like, you're gonna have to get me like a gefilte fish or something if you want to make up for this, because this is not okay. All right. The rest of you, though, what were you looking for?
I'm
Rowan
curious.
just nonplussed. He's not even looking at this. Like, I'm sorry,
Do
you don't seem to be like the rest of the people here.
do you travel a lot?
Do I travel? I haven't traveled in 10 years. You know, the wife, she likes, you know, when we got married, we've been married for 37 years. And when the wife, she came in and she's like, oh, you know, I'm going to marry the shopkeeper because then we're going to have all the money in the world. Didn't know that the economy was just going to drop out like nothing. But back then, the plan was I hire a few people to run the store, and then we go traveling, cruise Italia. You know, we go up to like Ilmorn, and we have some dinners there, or we go over to like Scornmote and we visit the cool looking churches there. Maybe even make it all the way to Tormund Rift and like talk about flying buttresses or things like that. But you know, as soon as the money starts getting difficult, you know, I can't hire more people because they all want to be paid. And so yeah, we've been here. We have not gone to single place in 10 years.
Yeah, like my friend said, have you noticed that like the townsfolk have gotten really weird recently?
Well, and as he's talking, where is the gold that you pull? Is it in your hand?
It's in my hand, yeah.
Okay, so he kind of looks at the gold and he looks at the counter and he looks at the gold. Oh, you know, yeah, I've been having trouble with my memories recently, probably because someone named Bobby was messing with my brain with magic.
I'll put the 5 gold down on the counter in front of him.
It disappears. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone in the town is any weirder than normal. You know,
They're walking around as if mollified beyond all recognition. They're very, very bland. Would be something they would strive for.
you know, I didn't want to say anything, you know, just because I'm a nice guy, but have you ever considered that maybe you're the problem? I mean, you don't seem like a pretty, like, fun person to be with. And then you got Bobby over here messing with people's minds. Maybe Bobby broke a few people. But I know, like, the Sturgises, their kid comes in here like twice a week, and you know he's a lively kid, but boy can that boy talk just forever, and he talks about the strangest things. Like he started getting into Dragon Ante, 3 Dragon Ante, and so he keeps talking about all the different combinations of the cards. He's like, well, if you use this card, then you can trick people into thinking that you have this other card. But it's just not going the way that I want, and I don't care about the 3 Dragon Antes or anything like that, or 2 dragons or 4 dragons. I mean, I got myself a business here, and every time he comes in, the only thing that he gets is he'll get like a single vial, or he'll get like my wife every so often will make like baked goods and things like that, and she wants me to sell them here. The only person who's ever bought a single one of them is the Sturgis kid, and I don't think I've ever seen him eat a single one. I think he might just be giving it to the dogs outside.
Have you been to the tavern recently?
Not in a few days. You know, it's been a little while. Again, if I go to the tavern, the wife is like, "Oh, what are you doing there? Are you saying that my cooking isn't good enough for you?" And I'm like, "No, your cooking is probably the best cooking in the world," because that's what you say to your wife.
Have you interacted with literally anyone else in this town recently?
Not the last few days. I've been pretty busy here in the store. We got a big shipment in about 4 days ago, so I've been sorting it out. And again, the wife's experimenting with this zucchini bread, and it is not a good experiment. I think
Rowan is rolling insight on this guy
Sure.
because one, he is the complete antithesis to the rest of these people. Two, he is skirting the. It's like, you're not busy. This town is not busy. You're not busy.
Mhm.
What the hell are you doing?
Sure, go ahead and roll an insight.
Okay. test this real quick. All right. Okay. All right. Insight. Okay. We're good. So that'll be 26.
26. Since this is your first interaction with him, it's a little bit more difficult to tell someone you've literally just met when they're lying or not. But
Yeah, that's
you've
why
got
he
a
was asking
good-
more questions to suss him out. And like,
You have a good eye for this, though. As far as you can tell, he seems to believe everything that he's saying. Like there's no obvious deception. He doesn't seem to be contradicting himself in any way, shape, or form. And when you start asking more pressing questions that would kind of reveal the lie, even good liars will start to show signs that they realize that they're not being believed. And he's either oblivious to the fact that you think that he's lying, or he is a better liar than you've ever seen. Like this guy could sell real estate to the Dark Lord.
or he could be believing things like a certain sheriff was believing things until he got called out.
Mm-hmm. But as far as you can tell, there's nothing that would indicate that he thinks he's lying or he's being distrustful in anything. Everything he's saying right now seems, at least to him, to be the truth.
Oh God, the chicken. Your wife, where does she get the zucchini for her bread?
You know, that's a good question. I actually don't know. I haven't seen her leave in quite a bit of time, and I certainly aren't going out and buying the zucchini. If I had to guess, there's a vegetable stall that's not the one like the one in the town square. Like it's okay vegetables, but the guy that runs it, he's this guy named Billworth. Oh boy. He just swindles every person that walks into his store or his little stand. He doesn't have a big building like me, probably because he's swindling everyone so nobody trusts him enough to give him a loan. But I don't go to him. So normally down, if you go out in there and you go down the first right and then your second left, third right, and then just go straight until you see a building with a giant chicken on it. And then you actually have to go back about, if you go to the chicken building, you're going too far. You go back one street, and then there's a little stall that has just the greatest vegetables that you're going to find. Like they sell cucumbers, the zucchinis, other things like that, and they're really good. So if I had to guess, that's where my wife would get it. But, to be perfectly honest, I haven't seen her leave in the last couple days, so I don't know. Wait a minute, you're the one that tried to ensorcel my brain. I'm not talking to you anymore.
Vala just reaches into her pocket, grabs 10 gold, and sets it on the counter.
I really think holding a grudge is it's not the healthy thing to do. So, you're just so lucky that I am such a forgiving person. And again, the coins vanish. Anything else I can help you folks with? It seems like you got a lot of stuff to be doing here, and I don't want you to all think that I don't absolutely love you all being here, except for Ensorcel the Mind Bobby over here. But did you have something in particular that you wanted to buy from the store?
Maybe we should look around and see about resupplying.
Yeah, I really wanted some tea.
Like I said, they don't sell the tea here. They have it at the inn. I mean, I can go get you some tea if that's what you want. But there's going to be a surcharge because I have to go over there and then I had to deal with them. And let's be perfectly honest. The people that run the tavern, they are just mean people. They just
They seem mean, just very bland.
I think, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
No. I will look over at Relwyn. That chicken last night was bland.
I would make it a point that I think someone said that they dumped the chicken.
I think that I would like the tea. I'll pay the surcharge.
All right, then. What I'm gonna do here, I can't.
I promised them scones earlier.
I can't trust Miss Little manipulate your mind in the store, so you're going to have to wait outside while I'm gone. But the other two here, you look like you are the upstanding, people. So let me just tell the wife that I'm going to be leaving the store in a bit, and she can kind of watch the store. But you, Missy, you're going to have to wait outside because I don't want you ensorceling the mind of my missus, and then I come home and I find out that now she's decided that she's an opera singer and she's going to go off without me. Like, we've been married for 37 years. I don't want you ruining the marriage in just one little sorcel. You get what I'm saying?
I understand. I will go outside and be on my best behavior.
That's good. Don't you be ensorceling minds again. All right, let me go.
I will go outside and start ensorceling minds with my music.
Rhonda! Rhonda, come on down here, Rhonda. And you see this woman walk with a very similar expression to everyone else you've seen in the town. Yes? Rhonda, I have to go and get these people some tea, so I need you to kind of keep it down the fort here while I go and do something, okay? Of course. All right, good. I love you so much. Oh, and by the way, you see him get real close, but he doesn't seem to have a volume control. That one over there, the one with the dress and everything like that, she ensorcels people's minds. She tried to convince me to leave you to go with her because I think she got the hots for me. But I would never do that because I love you and we've been married for 37 years. So you just make sure that she maybe we don't know. Maybe she goes for us both and she couldn't have me because her mind powers weren't powerful enough. But maybe she tries the same on you. So you make sure she doesn't come back in until I come back in. Okay, sweetie? Yes, of course. All right, then. He plants a kiss on her. He's like, okay, let's go. Come on, you ensorceable mind lady. Let's go. And he kind of pushes you out the door. And you watch him walk over to the inn. And it's going to take about 10 minutes for him to come back if there's anything you guys want to do in the 10 minutes.
We're going to pretend to peruse the wares, but Rowan's going to look to Argenta. Is there any way you think we can find where this would be?
That was kind of the idea. Does she seem to be actually paying attention to us, or is this like not her usual task, so she's not programmed for it?
She's paying attention in the same way that the shopkeeper in A Link to the Past pays attention to Link. If you move too quickly, they can't turn fast enough, and you can steal. If you've never, you will be called thief for the rest of the game. Yeah, I mean, she's paying attention as much as she seems to kind of follow movement. She's not interacting with you guys at all. She's not doing anything behind the counter. She's literally standing there.
Okay, so
Very quickly, give her roughly between 3,500 to 4,000 gold. I cast Feign Death on her. She goes to sleep.
Is this something that you're actually doing?
No, I'm doing the Baldur's Gate 3 joke.
Oh, okay.
So of these, so when we were in the back room, there wasn't like a trap door or anything, right?
Not that you guys saw it. Unfortunately, Relwyn kind of broke stuff before you guys could do a really good search. There was nothing obvious. Like, the 8 was not quite enough to be able to search too much before the breaking happened. So if you wanted to go back in there again and search more thoroughly, you can.
And I'm just going to ask, is this layout sort of like there's the storage, there's the front room, and then upstairs? Is that like the only downstairs?
There's an office area, and in the office area is the stairs that go into the upper apartment. So you have the main area, you have the storeroom is back here and goes the length of the building, and then to the left here is the kind of office area, and there's stairs that go up into there. There's nothing that seems to lead to a basement of any sort.
Okay.
Or at least as far as you can see. You technically haven't been in the office, so...
But what Argenta will do, then... So, when she's looking at Rowan and she's not looking at Argenta, Argento will kind of fast walk so that she would have to like physically turn to see her,
Mm-hmm.
and then use her ranger ability that lets her go invisible for a round and just kind of walk into the office.
Okay, yeah, no check required. The office is boring. There's some desks you could see. There's accounting books and stuff like that. Um, manifest manifests and other things like that. If you're not kind of familiar with how a business runs, a lot of this just looks like gibberish in numbers.
Mhm.
But it's kind of standard business paperwork, and then you do see a door or a set of stairs that go up to a door in the back. And again, as far as you can tell, you don't see anything that leads to a basement of any sort in here.
There's no like rugs on the floor or anything.
No, there's papers and boxes on the floor, but nothing that would be able to hide like a trap door or anything.
Hmm. All right. Same verse, but this time it's just invisible before I leave the office,
Mm-hmm.
and then just sort of walk around into the storage room again.
Okay. So storage room has significantly more stuff, and a few of the kind of stacks of crates in that theoretically could hide a trapdoor if there was one underneath it.
Okay, I'll try and give more of a thorough search, but be quieter this time.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check with disadvantage.
Okay.
I'll say for the rest of you guys, it is a very awkward silence because she looks at you every so often, doesn't say a damn thing.
Rowan would probably like talk to her, try to at least attempt. Like, your husband said he'd been here for 10 years.
Yes.
Have you always? He had said he mentioned the intent of traveling to other towns.
Yes.
Were you ever wanting to travel, or did you just decided to set place here?
Yes.
Interesting. And then
Could you
he just turns. And he's gonna walk. He's just gonna look at, pretend to peruse.
The
Could you-
lower.
come here for a second?
No.
May I come there?
No. Remember, you're outside. So if you are saying this, you're saying it from the doorway.
Yeah. What happens if I cross the doorway?
If you attempt to, she goes, "You are not allowed to be in here. Please leave."
Could you come here for a second?
No.
I want to ask you a
While this is happening, Argento, what'd you get?
A 13.
13. Okay. So, kind of moving things around in that there really isn't much here. You do your best to try and move the crates. Go ahead and make me a strength athletics check.
26.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be an issue. You do your best to, as quietly as you can, move a few of the crates around to see if there's something underneath them. And there isn't. Like, the floors themselves don't have any cracks in them, other than obviously between planks and stuff like that. There's no indication of a trapdoor. There's no indication of like a trick board or something. Like, this is a remarkably well-made floor.
There's no like hollow spots as I'm kind of looking around.
I would say with the 13, you weren't able to discover anything specifically aside from the fact that it's a solid floor.
All right. She'll slip. She'll like walk out and walk back in the front like nothing happened.
And as you walk in, probably about a minute afterwards, it goes, "Okay, so here we go. And as you can see, we've got the tea." And you can see he's holding a handful of tea leaves. Not in a bag or any way. He's just holding a handful of tea leaves. And he goes behind the counter and he goes, "Thank you so much, wife. So happy that you're here," and kisses her on the cheek. "You can go back upstairs and make that amazing soup again." "Okay." She walks away. And he gets out some packing paper, tosses the tea on it, kind of wipes his hands a little bit. "So that's the tea. With the surcharge and everything, that's going to come to 2 silver pieces."
I'll pay him.
Okay. So he takes it and kind of wraps it up and ties it off. It's not the best way to keep tea, to the point where in your mind you are thinking you have bottles that would be perfect for holding, glass bottles in the back would be perfect for holding tea leaves. So you decided to use packing paper. Okay.
Well,
But
Rowan was noticing this. Like, it's like he seems to be more independent thought than other people, but he also seems to believe in stuff, even when it contradicts itself. We just asked him to leave his store, and he did what he thought was perfectly normal, as in getting a handful of tea, a literal handful of tea, coming back here.
And Vala, you in particular, because of kind of the wealth that you used to have, and I guess Relwyn, you probably would have used tea as I mean,
He would recognize quality.
well, and also you would be familiar with not just like tea, but the fact that you've probably used it as a curative
Oh, yeah, sure.
in certain places. So you know that in general, it's significantly more common if you're going to be selling tea. It's normally sold in glass vials and things like that because you can see the tea, you can stop it so that it's airtight, so that the tea doesn't lose its flavor, and you can open it and smell the tea, which is generally the most common way to kind of sell tea, is people smell and go, "Well, I like that. I want one of those." So it is weird that, first of all, the tavern would sell loose leaf tea in someone's hand. Second of all, that a shop owner would decide to package it in packing paper wrapped in twine. Like, those are just not smart ways to sell tea. So, is there anything else that that you all wanted to get here? Because you know, I'm loving the fact that you're all here, except for little Sourceful Mind Lady over there. But you know, I do have other customers that I have to take care of. So
Oh, really? Right now?
there's no one else in the store.
No, that's what Rowan was saying.
Okay.
Oh, really? Right now? That's what
Well,
Rowan
of
said.
course not right now. Little sorcerer lady went and scared them all away. But as soon as you guys get the heck out of here, I'm certain that the business will pick up. Like, this is my busiest day of the week.
Since Vala is outside, she will cast Detect Thoughts.
Sure. I don't. Does it work? It doesn't work through full cover, right? I'm gonna say it doesn't work through full cover, to just put some limitation on this.
Yeah, but I
But if you
Yeah,
poke
but-
your head around the door, you can detect your friends, and you can detect him, the shopkeeper. If you want to focus, you can get you can get surface thoughts, and then you can delve deeper if you want with a save, or he gets a save for delving deeper. But
I'm going to focus on him to get his surface thoughts.
okay, surface thoughts are chaotic. He has a problem with the zucchini bread. Like, that just keeps coming up over and over again, and he keeps, like, the words botulism keep coming up in reference to that pot of Frankenstein soup that he keeps talking about, and every so often thoughts of you come up, and you realize that just surface thoughts, he kind of finds you attractive, but is pissed off that you tried to control his mind, and so he's kind of conflicted there. And all of this stuff is just going through his head. Like, this is This isn't even like trying to delve in. His mind is just constantly running with nonsense.
Do I delve deeper or do I try to do the classic bard, seduce him?
It's up to you. You've met his wife. Do you really want to do that to his wife?
I think I would be doing her a favor.
You homewrecker.
Thank you.
You've been married for 37 years.
I am going. Hang on a second. Oh, if I probe deeper, he'll know that I'm probing deeper.
Yepers. And he's already not happy about you ensorceling his brain.
Well, he'd have to catch you, but I think he would just automatically think it's you.
No,
No, once he makes a save, he knows that a spell's been cast.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah.
I don't even know if he has to make the save. I think he can fail it and still know that I'm probing.
No,
The probe
not
goes through.
succeed at a save. Once he makes a save, once he's required to make a save, he would be aware that he's been affected by spells. There's nothing secretive about detect thoughts. It's actually a rather invasive process because since they can resist it, it's remarkably uncomfortable.
I will not probe deeper. I will still read his surface thoughts, but I'll just be like, your wife seems to be acting a little strange, don't you think?
Well, she's so worried about the fact that this crazy girl just comes in here and tries to ensorcel my mind. You know?
It's almost as if somebody has ensorcelled her mind.
Hey, I see what you're doing there. She doesn't swing that way, let me tell you. You know, there was a few times I tried to bring up the idea of maybe bringing someone else in for some, to keep things fresh. That was like a whole month of sleeping on the couch, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I could ask her.
No, you don't get to talking to my wife. You tried to ensorcel my mind. You might try to convince her she's something that she's not. This marriage has lasted for 37 years because we know to trust each other. And I know that I can't trust her when someone with the brain spells comes in and tries to take over her mind. So you don't get to do that.
Am I getting anything different at the surface level when I bring up?
He does think it's a little bit hot that you and his wife, but aside from that, he does not like you. Like, and that one thought like really upsets him because he hates you. He vehemently hates you. But he's kind of like, there's just that brief, just tiny bit of thought is, well, what if I had the both of them at the same time? Nah, I already get my wife bad enough. Why would I want to upset two women at the same time?
Aww. But nothing about her acting weird pops up.
He doesn't. As far as you can tell, the thought that she's acting weird seems absurd. And the surface thoughts that he's getting are, he thinks that you're trying to swindle him in some way.
Yeah.
Like he does, right. Any question that you ask, he's instantly, the first thing is, why is she asking that question? He thinks that you're a con man, effectively, or con woman, whatever you want to call it.
The confidence person.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm not getting anything from upstairs.
No, nothing. Again, I am ruling it as full cover, meaning if there's something in between you and them, you can't read their thoughts.
Yeah, I know there's some kind of a boundary there, but all right. So
again, it's a really, really useful, especially because I believe Detect Thought's a first level spell, right?
It is.
Yeah. So for first level spell, I think limiting it to you have to be able to physically see them is more than enough for something that can detect invisible people.
Yeah, it's definitely creatures you can see.
Yeah.
So I was hoping. All right. I mean, I could just pop right up there. Okay, nope. I will.
I've still got the ladle. You don't know what's been on this ladle. That is not the way, and he just shakes it at you. That is not the way I would want anyone, like my worst enemy, I wouldn't want them to die that way, which is you right now.
So have you've not eaten your wife's zucchini bread, have you?
Well, of course I have. It's my wife. She made the zucchini bread for me, and well, I mean, eating is a realist kind of strong word. Like I put it into my mouth and I chewed it, and then when she turned away, I spit it out.
Could I buy a loaf of this zucchini bread?
And he looks at you with this look of how dare you. And you see him
I
consider
produce
it,
15 gold.
and it disappears. Honey, it's I was bragging about how good your zucchini bread is, and these people want to try some. So, Rhonda, let's here. I'll be right back. And he goes into the office. You hear him walk up the stairs. And again, he seems to be completely incapable of understanding what volume is. He's like, no, honey, I think, no. Well, I know that you're just the prettiest thing on the planet, and of course I like the zucchini bread, but I mean, they want and they paid the 15 gold. Like, that's more than, like, that's a day's wages easily. Like, that's what I do in a day. So come on, let's take.
Rowan, while he hears him talking, is like, what?
Well, no, I don't. I think the mold probably
the
adds
food.
flavor, like a cheese.
There's
So this
something
would
in
be
the
perfect. We just
vegetables.
wipe it off. They won't know any difference.
Okay, wonderful. We need to find out how to get below here.
Okay, fine. I won't use it that one. This one looks fresh, though. When did you cook this?
Look,
I'm open to suggestions.
I mean, there's clearly some way to get down below.
No, I think the ducks. I don't think the ducks directly died because you fed them the bread. I think that was an extenuating circumstance. I just don't feel too bad about it.
Vala summons Firebolt into her hand and goes,
Not committing arson.
quenches the flames.
Okay, look, I have.
Yes, I was very sad when the ducks died too. But you see, they're in a better place now with a belly full of zucchini bread. So I
The
mean,
only
that's
other
good.
option is if we can move the earth outside to get below.
I think we're gonna have.
All right,
obviously
I'm
doesn't
taking
trust
this
us.
one, and you hear him walking down the stairs.
Or I cast banishment on him, and you have a minute to find a way.
So
Good
as soon as you
God.
finish that statement,
won't-
he comes out. Look, I have this fresh zucchini bread. You can see it's still warm from the oven. And he kind of
thank you very
places it on paper, and he wraps it up in the packing paper and twine and goes, here you go. Enjoy that. That's some of the best zucchini bread I have ever had in my life. It's also the only zucchini bread I have ever had in my life, because who the hell puts zucchini in the bread?
I smell it. Does it?
It smells kind of stale, but it smells like bread. I don't know if you've ever had zucchini bread, but
I
it's
fucking love zucchini bread.
it's a weird texture thing for me. This is not well-made zucchini bread. Like, it's not like they didn't put any seasoning into the bread at all, so it's just bread with zucchini in it.
Mmm.
Rowan leans in, is like, well, I'm kind of wondering, and he leans in. If it's for a minute, I can do that, or we go outside and we try to.
I see. Go outside.
Okay. All right. Well, that seems to be good enough. Thank you very much. I hope we'll get out of the way so you can take care of your expectant rush.
Absolutely, and as long as you don't bring your little sorcerer friend there who likes to mess with people's minds, you're welcome to come back. I had a great time. Maybe next time she'll have some, like she has this idea that you could put the chocolate in the zucchini bread, and I think that sounds
Okay.
like
Bye.
Bye!
Do 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 do.
By the way, the only zucchini bread I've ever had chocolate in it, and it wasn't bad.
I've had zucchini bread. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it was one of those things like, wow, you found a way to put vegetables in bread.
I just know.
Congrats.
I firmly believe that someone just like makes zucchini bread because they didn't know what the fuck else to do with all the zucchini they overgrown, because that's all they seem to do is grow zucchini.
I kid you not, I had a friend who they just had planted zucchini and they did not understand exactly how much zucchini you get. And
That's
yeah,
every person that
that's
plants
what's-
zucchini.
That's where zucchini bread came from. It's like, well, I can't give this shit away.
Once outside, I'm going to use my wand of magic detection,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to. Mm, any
There,
magic?
there is like everything has a dull glow in this city.
It's an ambient.
There is some large magical effect that is affecting the entire city. But it's so faint that even the wand of magic detection only kind of detects the fact that there is magic happening, but it doesn't even give you a school of magic. It's just there is magic here.
Okay.
But as far as looking for something specific, nothing jumps out.
There's a secondary thought I was considering is that if the town was built on top of a previously existing, it could be quite possible that maybe whatever access may not actually, maybe they just built literally on top of it and didn't think to access underneath. They might not have intentionally left an access.
Right.
So again, my other option is I could just banish him if you think we can find something.
Well,
She doesn't seem to operate under orders unless he gives. Like, I don't think he realizes he's giving her orders. That's the reason why she said no to you, because he
Right.
specifically said, "Do not trust you."
I'm almost clearly everybody here is under the effect is under some
Yes.
kind of an effect. He isn't. I'm wondering if it's something in the food. That's why I bought the zucchini bread, thinking maybe
Imagine-
there's something about the zucchini. I wonder-
Imagine if he's one of the Dark Lords.
I don't think so.
Just imagine it.
If he
The
is the
secret
Dark Lord,
Or one of the generals.
Well, I
And
can.
he talks people to death. I mean, that's an interesting idea.
Oh God, I so wish I had silence spell. Just whoop. You probably wouldn't even know. Well, I can try to cast Identify on this. I was gonna try to cast Identify on the wife. But I think we could try sneaking in, and if he comes, and if we make a bunch of noise and he
Well,
comes back in, you could try casting
I-
Vanish on him.
I checked the back room. I didn't find any trapdoors. I checked the office. I didn't find any trapdoors. The floor seems very solidly built.
If there is a hidden access point, I mean, it might not be the floors, but I don't know what else it could be unless we actually we would have to very thoroughly search the place,
Is
or we make a doorway.
is the so I'm assuming around the shop is like packed dirt. It's not like cobblestone or pavement.
it's a fantastic question. My lack of knowledge about how building works, whatever it's supposed to be, if this is an actual like regular building, whatever it's supposed to be is what it is. I just don't understand. But like I know a foundation is a part of building things.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
If this is a medieval type structure, it's possible that there is some foundation, but it would probably be like, my God, I'm actually gonna dip into my job. There's probably like a foundation, but it would be on top of effectively a slab or a crawl space.
Okay.
If they are built on top of a city, but the structure for itself could conceivably be just like a crawl or slab, which would be just packed dirt, stone structure, and then floor, and then house.
I'm gonna say for this one, it's no crawl space. It's a slab.
Okay.
So,
And then is it like flush with the other buildings, or are there like is it an alleyway?
there's
Is it
alleys
just-
and like none of the buildings share walls or anything like that. They all have alleys and stuff around them. A lot of them have fencing and other things that kind of prevent unwanted people from like just wandering through. But around the shop itself, there's no fences. There's no nothing. You can get to all four sides of the building.
Okay, I'll just kind of walk to one side,
Mm-hmm.
make sure there's not a window.
Mm-hmm.
Mold earth 5 feet of ground. Look.
Choose even or odd.
Odd.
Okay. So as you just kind of mold earth and kind of move it away, what you would expect to find beneath a building, like the slab itself is not particularly deep. I would assume a slab foundation is less than 5 feet thick.
I mean, this is a medieval type place. I mean, it could be conceivably, I would guess.
So you see nothing out of the ordinary. If the slab is more than 5 feet thick, then you just see the slab. If it's not, then you see what normally happens under a slab. In this particular area, again, it's just a 5-foot area that you've excavated.
Okay.
I have a horrible idea.
Not doing arson.
It doesn't involve arson,
I don't
and
believe
there's
you.
no potential. Short term, it doesn't involve any arson. And there's no chance of injury to anybody other than me.
What's the idea?
So this model of the city underground,
Yes.
I'm assuming like there was a cavity that these buildings were inside of.
Yes.
So like a cavern.
Yes.
Could I estimate how much earth is between the cavern and the surface?
10, 15 feet. Not a
And
ton.
then how much between that surface and like how tall is the cavern?
Maybe 30, 40 feet.
Okay.
In various places. There were kind of different elevations for the city, so it's not 100% flat,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Just like the city itself now is not flat.
So I am probably about 45 feet from the surface of the floor of the cavern.
Roughly, depending on where you are. Yeah, that's not outside the realm of reason.
Cool. I'm gonna cast fly on myself.
Okay.
Do you share what you're going to do before you just start doing this, or you
I'll
do
just
it?
be like, hey, I shouldn't die, and
What are you
hopefully
gonna do?
I'll be
Please
back in a few minutes.
Please tell us in advance. I'm so tired of people just doing things.
I
Do you remember what happened when you did that in the tower?
it all worked out fine. Right?
Remember what happened when you did it with the mushrooms?
So I'm gonna cast fly on myself. So you
This
guys will
has
see
just
me
become a
levitate little
clip
bit.
show with nothing of clips, nothing but clips of Vala
And-
making unilateral decisions that blow up in her face.
And then I'm going to cast Dimension Door
Okay.
and teleport myself 25 feet straight down.
Okay.
And I'm announcing this to everybody before
That
casting.
sounds
Dimension.
incredibly reckless. What's going to happen next? What's wrong with just us possibly? Okay, who was it that went ethereal? I believe it was Argenta.
Yeah.
I can do it. I can do it once. Like I have to rest an hour, but I mean, at the same time, as Vala's just been kind of explaining this, because you need to do this to like chain mold earth to dig deeper. It's mold earth 5 feet, like directly in front of where I mold earth 5 feet down, and I'm just building stairs.
That's Minecraft.
I mean, the worst thing that'll happen is I will not be able to go down, and it'll hurt a little bit.
I love that the alternative idea to us gaining access via moving Earth is you inflicting self-harm potentially.
Vala's just floating.
I honest to God thought you timed out.
So what do you guys want to do?
I'm 6 seconds at a time, Jody. I'm building stairs.
Okay. So Argenta has gone full on Minecraft. Steve. Argenta, as you're going down, you suddenly hear What do villagers sound like again? They're like, "Meh."
Meow. Meow.
I'm just looking around. Is anybody paying attention to us as we're digging this
No.
tunnel?
You haven't seen a whole lot of. Again, it's still relatively early in the morning. You guys spent, I don't know, maybe an hour in the shop with him. It's still relatively early in the morning, and the city itself just doesn't seem to have woken up yet. It's probably like 9 in the morning. So farmers and things like that are already out in their fields, and then everyone else is doing stuff at home before they come out for the day.
I was just thinking I could go down, I could see what's down there, and then see if there's a tunnel and access point underneath this shop. Or we could just wait for the stairs that are going to end 15 feet or 25 to 30 feet above the cavern floor.
While we've been having this conversation, I just want to point out 5 feet of earth being moved every 6 seconds. That's a lot. So, is there a staircase while we just had this argument?
Yeah, he's 100% going full on Minecraft. However, because mold earth doesn't allow you to like delete the dirt, it has to go somewhere. There is a steadily growing mound of freshly moved dirt.
Oh yeah, no, it's an assembly line that's moving dirt up and then going down.
That's okay? That actually is a question I was asking. Does it stay in a 5-foot block, or is it just like
No, if it doesn't have again, dirt in and of itself can be packed so that it retains its shape, but it's not structurally sound or anything like that. And because the deeper she goes, she has to use multiple castings of this spell to actually get it out of the hole. The deeper she goes, the longer it takes for her to get the next thing of dirt. So there is just like a pile of like dirt chunks and stuff like that. It's not like Minecraft blocks that are just chilling there. They're in various pieces.
And is this a cantrip or a spell?
It's a cantrip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it only affects 5 feet. The I think mold earth is the actual spell, and that can affect a lot more, and it can do a lot more with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you guys are kind of arguing about this, eventually Argenta, because it's only going to take you less than 10 minutes to get to the point where you are. You eventually move something away, and you are instantly hit with this wave of incredibly kind of acrid and stale ale that stings the back of your throat, makes your eyes water a little bit.
Ale or air?
Air. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
I just kind of walk up my stairs. They're like 5 feet tall, so you know it's a whole process. But I'm just like, get it.
Vala will float over to the hole.
Okay. So if you
did you still cast flight on yourself?
Yeah, that was the first thing I did.
yeah.
I thought you were
I
talking about it
I've
first
just
before
been-
you did it.
I cast fly on myself, and then I disclosed that I was going to do Dimension Door before casting it.
I already had the 4d6 ready and roll 20 to roll.
I looked down because I was gonna estimate 25 feet down.
So as you look down, you just see darkness. Like it's a big dark opening, and there doesn't seem to be any light that you can see just directly above. But as your eyes get adjusted to it a little bit, you do start noticing bits of texture, I guess would be the best term for it. Meaning there probably is some sort of light source down there, because otherwise it'd just be blackness. But it's not close enough for you to be able to get any distance, but it's pretty far down. Without dropping something down, you don't know the exact distance, though.
Vala will start floating down the hole.
Okay.
Just
All right.
question for anyone who cannot see in the dark.
I'm a half elf. Vala's a half elf. We both can.
Okay,
You
I have dark vision.
you've simply adopted the dark vision.
I'll kind of secure a rope,
Okay.
like 50-foot length of rope with a pitten, and I'll start.
I would
You
say
know,
if all you were using is a python,
Mhm.
The dirt is not strong enough to support your weight. And like, there's nowhere you can secure a piton or python, whatever it is. There's nowhere you can use that secure it that will support your weight.
I mean, the slab of the house, if you're doing it, depending if that's where you went through.
If you want to tie it to like a tree or something solid, you can do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. So yeah. So Vala starts slowly floating down. Argenta is kind of repelling her way down. Rowan, do you want
I
to?
think
We're always gonna have to awkwardly take the rope.
Okay.
I think Lillian would be the only one of us that can't see in the dark.
Yeah.
I'll
So
light a torch and carry it in my mouth.
I can cast light.
Oh, that works too. Yeah.
hang on a second. Vala, like, it's been 10 minutes, and we'll fly over to the stairs just as the flight spell is failing,
Okay.
and then lay a hand on Relwyn and Argenta and cast fly at 5th level.
Okay. So now Lillian's the only one going, I don't matter anymore? Is that how this works? But yeah, you guys are able to kind of get down to the bottom. But unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for today. As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/TraderTrainerJody. Otherwise, again, it's all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.